Hey, it's Amara Greyson, and what you're about to see isn't your average day. Today, Yakutsk is gripped by a brutal minus 58 degrees Celsius. For most of you, that number sounds like something out of a survival story, but for me, it's just another day in the unforgiving cold of Yakutsk. Stepping outside isn't as simple as grabbing a jacket. Dressing for this kind of cold is a carefully arranged process. First, I slide on camel wool knee pads to guard my joints, then layer up with thick camel wool socks to keep my feet warm. These essentials are non-negotiable in temperatures like these. Next, I pull on my insulated padded trousers and a light jacket, which go under my heavy-duty down jacket. When it's below minus 55 degrees Celsius, two jackets are non-negotiable. It's about staying alive. My down jacket is packed with goose down, making it incredibly warm. Keeping my head, neck, and feet toasty is top priority. For my hands, I wear gloves decorated with traditional beadwork. They're stylish and incredibly effective at keeping the cold out. Staying warm while looking good, that's just how we roll in Yakutsk. I also wear fur boots, which are essential since regular shoes would freeze solid in minutes. Once I'm fully geared up, I'm ready to step outside. It takes effort and time just to get dressed, so even a quick trip to the grocery store feels like a major task in weather like this. I live in an apartment building, and our entrance is protected by two heavy doors to keep the cold from creeping in. It's normal here to have multiple doors for insulation. The moment you step outside, the icy air hits your lungs like a shockwave, making it hard to breathe. The dry, freezing air irritates your airways, and the dense cold feels like a weight pressing down on you. Everything in Yakutsk is built to withstand extreme cold. Roads, buildings, and utilities are designed for temperatures that can drop below minus 70 degrees Celsius. Most apartments like mine have 24/7 central heating. Roads need constant maintenance to stay usable, and driving is tough with slippery conditions and the need for winter tires. Keeping a car running is so challenging that I stick to public transport. The nearest bus stop is about 250 meters from my home, a short 5-minute walk, but even in that time, the cold bites at any exposed skin, especially my face. My bus stop is in front of our local cinema. Despite our small population and extreme weather, Yakutsk is known for its impressive cinematography, with local filmmakers gaining recognition worldwide. Filming here is no small feat. Cameras freeze quickly, so we use multiple ones, swapping to keep them functional. Even we can only stay outside for about 15 minutes before we need to warm up. Buses are lifelines during winter, offering a warm escape from the cold. After just 10 minutes outside, my nose feels numb and painfully cold. The exposed parts of my body, like my nose, are the first to show signs of frostbite, turning white from the cold. I decide to rush to a nearby mall to warm up. Even in these conditions, we have homeless people. The city provides shelters in winter, but not everyone uses them. Sadly, many suffer from frostbite, often losing fingers or toes. Inside malls, theaters, and cinemas, there are wardrobes for leaving heavy jackets. It's impossible to walk around comfortably in a heated building wearing a thick coat and insulated trousers. Malls here are smaller and offer fewer options compared to bigger cities. With limited choices, most people shop online. Despite this, Yakutsk is home to unique local jewelry brands thanks to being a major diamond mining region. While most diamonds are exported, the few that stay are expensive, but silver and gold jewelry remain popular. Fur coats are another essential item here, not just a luxury, but a necessity. They provide unmatched warmth in extreme cold. Prices start at $5,000 and can go up to $15,000 for a sable coat. Many women save for years to buy one. I don't own a car because the cold makes it too much of a hassle. Engines need to run constantly to avoid freezing, or you need heated blankets to keep them functional. For me, buses are easier, though waiting for one in the cold isn't fun. As a kid, I used to take the bus to school alone at 6 years old. Sometimes it was late, and I'd stand freezing in the wind. Once, I cried, but my tears froze into tiny icicles, a lesson learned the hard way. Kids here are resilient, often playing outside even at minus 55 degrees Celsius. Phones are another challenge in this weather. The cold drains their batteries or shuts them off, so we use them sparingly. mostly for emergencies. Feeling cold again, I head to a small coffee shop. The warmth inside is a huge relief. After warming up, I grab a cup of hot water to demonstrate something incredible. Throwing it into the air instantly turns it into snow. Yakutsk, despite being a small city of around 400,000 people, is the cultural and economic hub of the region. The central areas are modern, with government buildings, malls, schools, and cultural landmarks. But the outskirts tell a different story. Many older wooden flats lack modern plumbing, forcing residents to use outdoor toilets even in -50 degrees Celsius. Life there is harsh, with minimal heating and cold seeping through gaps in windows and walls. Some neighborhoods are less safe, especially after dark, but Yakutsk also has charming areas with modern shops, restaurants, and cultural history. Socializing happens mostly indoors during winter. People gather in cafes, restaurants, and malls to relax, meet friends, and escape the cold. Despite the weather, locals love dressing up, especially women who always manage to look elegant. Drinking alcohol here can be dangerous as it numbs your senses and increases the risk of frostbite or worse. Tragically, some people freeze to death during celebrations when alcohol is involved. So, that's a glimpse into life in Yakutsk. Due to the long, extremely cold winters, people must prepare and store food carefully before the freezing temperatures arrive. The cold season, which can last for many months, make it difficult to find fresh food, so preserving it is the only way to ensure people have enough to eat. Over the years, the people of Yakutsk have developed unique methods for preserving food that have been passed down through generations. These methods not only help them survive, but also give them a chance to enjoy a variety of foods during the winter. One of the most important methods of food preservation in Yakutsk is smoking fish. In the warmer months, when fishing is plentiful, people catch fish like salmon and pike. Once caught, the fish are carefully cleaned and gutted. The fish are then salted to remove moisture, which helps prevent the growth of bacteria and ensures the fish lasts longer. Salting is an essential step, as it prepares the fish for the smoking process. After the fish is salted, it is placed in a smokehouse. The smokehouse is a special building where fish or meat are hung to be smoked. The fish is suspended on racks, and slow-burning wood is used to produce smoke. The type of wood used in the smoking process is crucial, as different woods add different flavors. For example, alder and birch are popular choices in Yakutsk because they give the fish a mild, sweet, or earthy flavor. The fish is smoked at a low temperature, usually around 30 degrees, over several hours or even days. This slow smoking process preserves the fish without cooking it, keeping the fish's natural taste and texture intact. The smoke helps to prevent spoilage, and the cold weather in Yakutsk further helps to keep the fish fresh. After the smoking process is complete, the fish can be stored in cool, dry places. This method allows the fish to last for many months, providing a steady food supply even when fresh fish is unavailable. Another popular method for preserving food in Yakutsk is making jerky. Jerky is dried meat or fish that has been preserved by removing moisture. In a place where fresh meat can be hard to come by during the cold months, jerky provides a long-lasting food source. The process of making jerky begins with choosing the right cuts of meat, often lean meats like beef, reindeer, or moose. These types of meat are preferred because they have less fat, which helps them dry better and prevents them from going rancid. Once the meat is selected, it is sliced into thin strips, usually against the grain, to ensure it dries evenly and retains a tender texture. The strips are then marinated in a mixture of salt, sugar, and spices, which not only enhances the taste, but also helps preserve the meat by drawing out moisture. Some people also add vinegar or soy sauce to the marinade, which adds aroma and acts as an additional preservative. After marinating, the meat is hung to dry. Traditionally, people in Yakutsk use the cold, dry air to help with the drying process, as the temperatures in winter can be extremely low and perfect for drying. Some people also use dehydrators, which are special machines that speed up the drying process. The meat is left to dry for several days, and sometimes it is also smoked during this time to give it extra taste. The finished jerky can last for months, and it doesn't require refrigeration. It is easy to store and can be eaten as a snack or added to stews and soups for extra protein and flavor. The jerky can be a lifesaver during the long winters when fresh meat is not easily available. Canning is another essential method for preserving food in Yakutsk, especially for fruits, vegetables, and even meats. Canning involves placing food in jars, sealing them tightly, and then heating the jars to kill any bacteria that cause spoilage. This process helps to preserve the food for long periods without the need for refrigeration. The first step in canning is preparing the food. For vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, and carrots, the food is usually pre-cooked or blanched to stop enzymes from breaking it down. After preparation, the food is packed into sterilized jars. The jars are then sealed and placed in a boiling water bath or pressure canner where they are heated to high temperatures. This step ensures that harmful bacteria and microorganisms are destroyed, allowing the food inside to stay safe and fresh for months. In Yakutsk, people also can meats like fish, reindeer, and beef. The meat is cooked, sometimes seasoned, and packed into jars, which are then sealed and processed to preserve the food. Canned meat is particularly important during the winter, as it provides a reliable protein source when fresh meat is difficult to find. Canning has been perfected over many years, and families make sure to have enough food to last through the winter. The jars are labeled clearly, so people know what they have on hand and can easily find what they need. Whether it's vegetables, fruits, or meats, canned food helps people maintain a healthy diet and enjoy a variety of meals even when fresh food is not available. Pickling is another key method used to preserve vegetables in Yakutsk. Vegetables like cucumbers, beets, cabbage, and carrots are placed in jars and covered with a saltwater solution made from water, vinegar, salt, and sometimes sugar. The salt water creates a bitter environment that prevents harmful bacteria from growing while giving the vegetables a spicy, sour taste. The pickling process also adds flavor, which is important for meals during the long winters. Once the vegetables are packed into jars, the tops are sealed, and the jars are stored in a cool place. Over time, the vegetables ferment slightly, which helps preserve them and adds to their unique flavor. Pickled vegetables are enjoyed throughout the winter, often as a side dish or added to soups and stews. Pickling helps ensure that families in Yakutsk have access to vegetables, even when it's too cold to grow fresh ones. Pickling is a tradition that has been passed down through generations. It allows people to store and enjoy the taste of the summer harvest, even when the temperatures drop and fresh produce is no longer available. Why these methods are important. In Yakutsk, where winter temperatures can drop as low as -60 degrees Celsius, food preservation is essential for survival. The long winters make it nearly impossible to find fresh food, so people must rely on these methods to ensure they have enough to eat. Smoking, making jerky, canning, and pickling are all techniques that allow people to store food for months, giving them access to a variety of meals during the coldest months of the year. These preservation methods are not just about survival, they are also about community. Families work together to preserve food, sharing tips and techniques passed down from older generations. In Yakutsk, food preservation is an art that helps people live through the extreme cold while maintaining their health, comfort, and sense of tradition. Through these methods, the people of Yakutsk have learned how to thrive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. At -64 degrees Celsius, you don't wear clothes here, you wear armor. The cold isn't just something you feel, it's something you fight. Step outside, and it feels like the air is stealing all the warmth from your body. Even your breath freezes into tiny ice crystals right in front of you. Here, life revolves around keeping it out. Our homes are like fortresses, packed with insulation and roaring stoves. The windows are so thick it feels like living in a snow globe, but the moment you step outside, it's a different game. Layer upon layer of fur, thermals, and waterproof everything. Forget something. A glove, a scarf, and I'll regret it instantly. Frostbite doesn't wait. It's a silent predator, and exposed skin is its favorite prey. The cold here isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. And the cars? Oh, they're basically alive too. Everyone keeps their engines running 24/7 in winter. No joke, if I turn my car off, it's game over. The engine freezes solid and I'm stuck until spring, or until I can afford a hefty tow bill. Driving here feels like navigating an ice rink. The roads are slick, the cold hardens tires, and every journey feels like a battle. I grip the wheel tightly, whispering little prayers that my car doesn't betray me. Living in this kind of cold does things to my body. Some I can see, some I can't. Frostbite? That's the obvious one. My skin turns white, hard, and numb in minutes if I'm careless. And it doesn't just hurt, it damages. Lose circulation long enough, and I might lose a finger, or worse. Breathing here is another story. I feel every inhale like a tiny burn in my lungs. It's like the air's biting me from the inside. I always cover my mouth and nose with a scarf, but even then, every breath stings. My body's working overtime just to stay warm. I can feel my heart beating harder, faster, like it's a tiny engine trying to keep everything running. It's exhausting. Some people, especially the weak or elderly, can't keep up. The cold has no mercy. As if the cold wasn't enough, winter here brings a near-permanent night. The sun barely shows its face, and when it does, it's like, hey, remember me? Before it slips away again. Those endless nights mess with my head. I feel this heaviness, like my body's begging for light. But I have my ways of coping. String lights glow in windows, candles flicker on tables, and laughter fills kitchens. It's the little things that keep the darkness from swallowing me whole. You'd think living here is all about enduring, but I do more than that. I thrive. Food is a big part of it. Fatty meals, hearty soups, and fresh fish. I eat like my life depends on it because, honestly, it kind of does. Every calorie is fuel to fight the cold. And then there's the clothing. Forget about looking trendy. It's all about survival. Fur-lined coats, boots that feel like armor, and hats so thick I can barely hear. It's like gearing up for war every time I leave the house. But it's not just about the physical stuff. The mental game is just as important. I can't let the cold or the dark get into my head. I've learned to find beauty in the frozen world, how the snow sparkles like diamonds, how the frost paints patterns on windows. And the people, they're the real warmth here. We stick together, share stories, and remind each other we're not alone. Yakutsk isn't just a city, it's a challenge. Every single day here is proof that humans are stronger than we think. It's a place that tests my limits, pushes me to adapt, and teaches me what it means to truly live. Yes, it's tough. Some days it feels unbearable, but then I see the sun break through the icy clouds, or I hear kids laughing as they sled down snowbanks, and I remember why I stay. There's beauty here, hidden under layers of frost. Every routine task becomes an epic challenge. Today, as I lay protected in my fortress of blankets, I knew what was coming, the dreaded bath. Getting out of bed was the first battle. Outside, the wind whistled like a ghost from a horror movie, rattling the windows as if trying to break in. Inside wasn't much better. Despite my heater's heroic efforts, the room felt like a giant freezer. I could see my breath in the air, little puffs of proof that I was still alive. Peeking out from under my blankets, I briefly considered staying in bed forever. But life doesn't pause, even on mornings like this. With a deep sigh, I swung my legs out and immediately regretted it. The floor was so cold, it felt like it slapped my feet. I scrambled for my woolly slippers as if my life depended on them. Step 1 of my bath survival plan was simple. Tea, sweet, strong, and hot enough to bring me back to life. I sat by the heater, clutching my mug like it was the Holy Grail. The tea gave me just enough courage to face what was next. Now, in this city, taking a bath isn't just a routine, it's a whole operation. First, I had to check if the pipes had frozen overnight. If you don't keep a small heater running near them, you'll wake up to solid ice instead of water. Lucky for me, the water was flowing. Small victories, right? Next, the bathroom. Oh boy, stepping inside felt like walking into Antarctica. I turned on the portable heater and waited for it to work its magic. It didn't exactly make the room warm, but after 30 minutes, it was less likely to give me frostbite. I laid out my post-bath essentials. A preheated towel. Yes, that's a thing. My fluffiest socks and the thickest sweater I could find. Overkill? Not here. Survival 101. Finally, it was time. Stripping down in this weather is an act of bravery, or sheer madness. The second I peeled off my first layer, the air bit at my skin like an angry little gremlin. I muttered, "You've got this," like a pep talk before a bungee jump. The moment I stepped under the water, though, bliss. Pure, soul-warming bliss. For a few minutes, I forgot about the cold, the wind, and the fact that my bathroom is basically a walk-in freezer. But reality came crashing back fast. Long showers here are risky. The steam can freeze on the walls, turning the whole place into an ice rink. So I worked like I was on a game show. Shampoo, rinse, out. Emerging from the shower was brutal. The cold hit me like a slap from Mother Nature. I grabbed my preheated towel and wrapped myself so tightly I looked like a human burrito. Then came the mad scramble to layer up. Thermal socks, 2 sweaters, and yes, a scarf. Outside, it was a balmy minus 50 degrees Celsius. That's the kind of cold where your breath freezes mid-air and your eyelashes turn into tiny icicles. But inside, bundled up with a fresh cup of tea, I felt victorious. Life here isn't easy. Brushing your teeth, stepping outside, even just existing, everything feels like a mission. But there's beauty in it too. The snow sparkles like a million diamonds. The air is so crisp, it feels brand new. And every small win, like surviving a bath, reminds you how strong you are. The cold here isn't just a pain in the neck. It's a force that freezes everything in its path, turning everyday life into a test of endurance. So, how do the people of this frozen city keep warm when even the air seems to bite? Brace yourself for a glimpse into the heart of one of the coldest places on Earth and discover the ingenious ways the residents battle the brutal chill to turn their homes into havens of warmth. The heating systems used in the city can be divided into 2 main types: central heating and individual gas heaters. The central heating system was more common in buildings constructed before 2010, and it relies on sending hot water through pipes to warm the rooms of a building. However, this method is not very efficient. Despite efforts to insulate the pipes, much of the heat is lost before it even reaches the apartments, mainly because of the extreme cold outside. In some cases, damaged insulation leads to even more heat escaping. At present, with temperatures outside at minus 40 degrees, the insulation temperature is minus 37. But in the damaged section of the pipes, it rises to plus 9 degrees, indicating a significant loss of heat. Furthermore, broken pipes can leak water, further reducing the system's efficiency. Another issue with central heating is the inconsistency in temperature. Some apartments, depending on their distance from the central boiler, might be either too hot or too cold. In some cases, apartments can even reach temperatures of 30 degrees, which can be uncomfortable. Sadly, residents have no control over these fluctuations, and it often results in either extreme heat or cold. Because Yakutsk is built on permafrost, the ground remains frozen year-round. As a result, pipes cannot be buried underground, as thawing the permafrost could cause structural issues. Instead, pipes are placed above ground to prevent the soil from melting beneath them. A more modern and efficient solution is the use of individual gas heaters. These are found in newer buildings where each apartment has its own gas heater. This system allows residents to control the temperature and energy consumption in their homes, providing a more personalized and efficient heating solution. Buildings that use individual gas heaters are designed to conserve heat. Entrances are equipped with 3 doors to trap the warmth inside. Despite the building having 16 floors and more than 200 apartments, all smoke from the heaters is funneled through a single pipe. The walls of such buildings are typically 60 centimeters thick, well insulated, and covered with an extra layer of material to further retain heat. A typical apartment in these buildings, such as one with 75 square meters, includes 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, and a balcony. The heating system features 3 radiators, 1 in each bedroom and 1 in the kitchen. During extreme cold, with temperatures outside reaching minus 40 degrees, the heater is set to around plus 40 degrees. Despite the cold, the apartment generally maintains a comfortable 25 degrees inside. Inside the apartment, the temperature of the radiators is consistent with the setting of the heater. The internal walls maintain a temperature of about 25 degrees, while the outer walls are a bit cooler. Though triple glazed windows are installed to minimize heat loss, they do not retain warmth very well. Additionally, a small crack in the outer wall lets cold air infiltrate the apartment. The balcony, being the most exposed part of the apartment, shows the most dramatic temperature differences. While the balcony is warmer than the outside, it still remains cold enough to function as a freezer. The temperature on the balcony, though higher than the outside air, is still cold enough to store frozen items. During the month, around 120 cubic meters of gas are consumed, with a cost of only $8. In contrast, residents of buildings with central heating systems, even those in similarly sized apartments, can pay over $130 for the same period. Clearly, individual gas heaters offer a more efficient and cost-effective solution. However, these heaters are only available in newer buildings, leaving older structures reliant on less efficient central heating systems.